So if you've ever bought or sold a home, you got a lot of questions, and that is totally normal because it doesn't matter if it's your first home or your 20th home, everything changes.
Just like in life, everything changes. So what you needed as a first-time home buyer is going to be different on your fifth home now that your family has grown. So it changes every day, new experiences, and that is what we love about what we do.
Exactly. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to tackle some of the questions that we get all of the time that we think will help you, and share some of our experiences that we think are kind of fun. Some are, but we always turn it to fun.
And people always think their experience is completely unique or completely hard, and I always tell them, you have no idea the things we've seen.
So the first question is one I actually got just this week because we are selling a new construction home. It's a great builder. They have a really good reputation, but guess what the question is?
Should I get an inspection even though it's brand new?
Very good. You think this. We really did it. So, anyway, yes, so that's exactly right. Should I get a home inspection? I'm going to tell you a little story that happened to me a couple of years ago and to my client, and it was a good thing that they did because, again, that reputable builder several years ago, what happened is we did the inspection and the protective layer that goes on the roof, like right below the shingles, it wasn't there. There is no way that we would have been able to tell that as a real estate agent, or a home buyer would know that. And clearly the builder
didn't
didn't even see it either. That was a huge deal. It was thousands of dollars for them to make that right.
The reality is, right, we love our homes. They're custom homes, a lot of these, and we love our developers and our workers, but we're all human.
Yes.
And so we all make mistakes and things happen. And sometimes you have to check. No one would purchase a brand new car without ever looking at making sure everything is set. So I'm not really sure why sometimes we think houses, you don't have to.
Exactly. And on this inspection that we just got back literally a few days ago, there were definitely some things that we would have never seen because you get so enamored by how beautiful the house is. Oh my gosh, look at my new quartz countertops. And it's such an exciting experience. That adrenaline, you're not thinking about all those other things. You're not looking in the attic.
Or the flip side, just know, no matter how new that house is, when the inspection comes back, it's going to be several pages because that is what an inspection does, right? It finds all the things. So just as exciting it can be, make sure it's not deflating once you do get that inspection and you realize that, that's just how it is. It's a house, no matter how perfect we think we are. But in our houses, we all have little flaws.
Right. I actually can't think of any inspection that hasn't had something come back on it. I know there's a lot of times where people will say, well, yeah, the inspector's hired to find stuff. They're going to find something. But that's correct.
Right.
Like, even if it's something silly, like the door doesn't close properly or whatever it might be, from the most minor things to the most, things like a roof or leaking or things that maybe just the naked eye is not going to be able to tell.
And remember that all the appliances, all the things that come with that new home, like they've purchased them from somewhere else. So they don't always know all the things. So you have to make sure everything is working. Quite frankly, I would run from the house, new or old, that you purchased that does not have anything on the inspection. This doesn't happen. And so it's all part of the process.
It really is. So I guess the moral of the story is if you are buying a new construction home, pay the $500 or whatever it might be. That's probably what it's going to be. Get the inspection. If you are in a place like Georgia, let's talk a little bit about radon, inspections for homes in Georgia.
Yeah, so the radon, for those that you don't know, it's a gas that comes up. It happens a lot with construction, so new construction, hilly environments. So some parts of Georgia are more prone than others, right? Basements, so all the things that sometimes in other, especially if you're moving in from a different state, that may not be something that you're used to having to check in your state. So definitely want to get that.
Definitely check that out. And it's great to do it, I think, especially if you have a basement and as you do some research on radon, that's probably the most important. I do have once in a while have somebody do it on a slab property, but usually it's basements that you want to focus on.
And again, there's nothing we can ever say that is always or never, right? Because that's just not life.
Right.
But for the most part, if it does come back, there are mitigation services that you do, and it can be taken care of. It is not a deal breaker. It does not have to be a deal breaker. It is something that we can absolutely work through, but our responsibility is to make sure that you all have all the information in front of you to help you process it, make sure you're making the right decisions for you and your family.
And those usually run a couple $100. Usually it's about $150 to $200. It'll sit in the basement of the home for 48 hours.
Yes.
They'll do an hourly reading to show you if it comes back high. Let's talk about how much that mitigation system costs if it does, because some people think, oh my gosh, is it $10,000?
It's not. It usually depends, of course, on the size of the home, how bad it is, or what the levels are. But you're looking at probably anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000 to get that taken care of. And so it's really not. It's not right. It's not a deal breaker. It's definitely something we can do. And you just want to make sure that when you're doing that, when you're submitting your offer, make sure that you allow for that time when you're due diligence, right? So if you're in a position where you want to have a short due diligence, but you know you're gonna do a radon, as we said, it has to sit there for 2 days. So you have to give yourself an extra day just to make sure that radon comes back. Because if you only have 2-day due diligence, you're not gonna be able to do that radon.
And then again, if we're talking about new construction, you want to really coordinate with the sales agent that's there, because they will tell you, hey, everything is ready now to do an inspection or a radon test. And they'll time it like usually a week before the blue tape walkthrough, the home orientation meeting. So you just want to make sure you get it at the optimal time. So all appliances are in, everything is there to get everything done.
Because what needs to happen is not that it has to be completely sealed, but you don't want where they're going to put it's going to be an access point where not a lot of windows and doors are coming open and out. It has to stay put, so it doesn't help if there's a bunch of contractors going around.
So hopefully that helps you if you're buying new construction, and maybe some of the inspections and things that you want to make sure to take care of. Because what is great is you have not closed on that property yet. That builder 9 times out of 10 is going to take care of that list for you, especially if there's code violations. So, it's better to do it before you close than after you send it online.
And are there things absolutely that are deal breakers? And sometimes has there ever been a situation that we can't get past it? Yes, I'm not going to lie and say it never happens. However, that's not the majority, right? Really, the reality is that the things you're going to find on there are all things that we work through, things that developer and that seller wants to work through.
Exactly.
And so it always ends well.
Exactly. It's going to be an issue for the next person.
That's right.
Hope you guys found that helpful as far as what to expect when you are buying new construction and some of those different inspections that you might want to do. We'll see you for the next one.